Howdy, y'all. Pull up a chair, grab yourself a mug of cocoa, and settle in close. This here's a true story from way back, about faith, family, and a little light that just wouldn't quit. They call it Chanukah, but around these parts we like to call it light up the fight. So sit back and listen, friends, 'cause we're going way back to the days of the Maccabees, a family who stood tall when the world tried to push them down. Gentle one when the world went Greek. Well, now it all started long before menorahs and jelly donuts. Back then in the land of Judea, God's people lived simple and faithful lives. But one day a mighty king came marching down from the north, a fella named Antiochus, puffed up and proud as a peacock. He strutted into town with gold all over his clothes and a voice loud enough to wake the roosters. Listen here, he hollered, y'all better start living like the Greeks. No more Torah, no more worshiping your God. From now on it's Zeus or bust. Well, bless his heart, he didn't know who he was dealing with. The folks in Judea loved Adonai with all their hearts, and a man named Mattathias, a wise old farmer and priest, stood up straight as a fence post and said, you can take our silver and our land, but our faith not for sale, not today, not ever. And that's how the whole mess began. The people shouted, we won't bow, we won't break. That spark of courage, well, it was the first flicker of the miracle to come. Chapter 2. The standing Modean. Now Antiochus sent his soldiers all over, telling everyone to bow down to idols and forget about Adonai. They came to a little town called Modean, where Mattathias lived with his sons, strong boys with fire in their eyes. The king's envoy rolled up with a fancy altar and a pig of all things. He said, sacrifice this here pig to our gods or else. The crowd gasped. Mattathias thundered, not today. And right there in front of everybody, he tore down that altar and shouted, who's on Adonai's side? Come with me. And people did. They ran for the hills with Judah, to Mattathias, his son, leading the way. From that moment on, those brave few became known as the Maccabees, which means the hammer. And honey, they were about to bring the hammer down on some injustice. Chapter 3. Rise of the Maccabees. Out there in the wild hills of Judea, the Maccabees gathered round a fire. They weren't soldiers, just farmers, shepherds, and faithful folks with grit. But they had something the big armies didn't. Faith that could move mountains. Judah stood tall and said, we fight for truth, not for gold, for the Lord, not for fame. And his brothers, Simon, Jonathan, Eleazar, and John nodded right along. They trained hard, prayed harder, and before long they started winning battles left and right. Word spread all across the land, the Maccabees are standing for Adonai, and they ain't backing down. Chapter 4. The miracle in the temple. After many battles and blessings, the Maccabees marched back into Jerusalem. The temple, Adonai's holy house, was a mess. Idols, dirt, and broken stones were scattered everywhere. But Judah said, we'll clean it up, fix it up, and rededicate it to the Lord. And that's just what they did. When it came time to light the menorah, they searched high and low for pure oil and found just one tiny jar. It was barely enough for one night. Judah smiled and said, if Adonai wants his light to burn, it'll burn. And they lit it. They left to find more pure oil and returned 8 days later. Well, wouldn't you know it, that little flame burned one night, then 2, then 3, all the way to 8 nights straight. A miracle if there ever was one. A little oil with a whole lot of faith. Chapter 5. The light lives on. When the people saw the temple shining again, they laughed, cried, and sang songs of victory. They were free, free to worship, free to live, free to believe. Judah stood before the crowd and said, let's never forget this. The every year, when the winter winds start to blow, we light our candles, spin our dreidels, and tell the story again. 'Cause even in the darkest times, one spark of faith can light up the fight. And that, my friends, is how Hanukkah came to be. A true story of courage, faith, and one little light that refused to die. Well, now wasn't that something? From the hills of Judea to the hearts of us all, God's light still shines stronger than ever. So as you light your candles this Hanukkah, remember, you don't need a lot of oil, just a little faith. Keep your hearts brave, your lights bright, and don't you ever be afraid to stand for what's right. Happy Hanukkah, y'all. And remember, the light